Well, day 2 begins with us collecting our bike here at REI, because day 1 was wonderful. Just a 40-minute drive. What could possibly go wrong? Just to get used to the bikes. And of course, we had a flat tire right at the very end. Thankfully, at the very end. But it was a mad rush to get to here before they closed. We arrived 2 minutes before they closed. Very thankful that they accepted our custom. And through the night, they've been fixing our e-bike. And we should be ready to go. But $69, the worse off. Sadly, it was on the back tire. And I don't have currently the time to do the punch repair work. We're gonna have to work on a plan for that. But anyway, here we go. Let's get on with it. Day 2. It's flat. It's flat. All right, so we've made it to the world famous La Jolla area, and there's this place cooks when it's on, but it's not on right now. It's very slopey, but we may go for a surf or push down, keep going. But we are thankful to be reunited with the crew and ready to make some miles up today. Back on the bike, pushing the pedals, and feels good. So surf's cooking. Want to get in the water. Hopefully we'll get a chance. Our goal was to get all the way to Carlsbad stroke Oceanside today, but we may amend that and kind of split the next 2 days in half, take advantage of the waves, connect with some of the locals. We'll see what unfolds. What I do know right now is for an e-bike, I need to change the settings because I'm working hard. Well, there's bits that are glorious by the coast, and then there's other bits that are just smack bang in the middle of traffic and up hills. So this is one of those moments. All right, first hill done. It's very easy on an e-bike. There's not a lot of suffering going on here, if I'm honest. But wow, the danger factor is so high with the cars. Yeah, ooh. Yeah, for sure. I had envisioned this like these full-on highways with a cycle path. The good thing is in America you're only going at, I think the speed limit's 65 on the freeway. This is probably around about 55 here, but it's 3 lanes, 4 lanes of traffic, and us on e-bikes. Well, we're certainly getting to see California in a unique way. Lots of fun. First guest has joined us.
Can I have a chain?
Now, what are we doing? I've had to crash. It's been wild on that machine. So Jared is a local down here in San Diego, a good friend of Kyle since they were kids, and up north in the Santa Barbara area, and he's joining us for a little bit of a ride today.
Already in trouble. San Francisco.
No, not Well, I'm feeling a little bit nervous because in just a few moments I'm going to be speaking to a big group of young people at a local church. And being in my 50s, I'm not sure I've still got it. So I'm going to show the movie Surfer's Guide to Faith, which has been made by my eldest son Marnie. It's a 5-part series exploring what Christianity is, and it's been made specifically for the surf and beach world. Check it out, super good. And so tonight I'm going to show that movie to the First Church here in California, and then I'm going to be speaking to this group of young people, which I haven't done for a long time. So yes, nervous. Do I still have what it takes to communicate to teenagers? Because I know my son would say no.
What's happening, Dad?
I've got to speak to all these young people in a minute.
Are you scared?
I'm scared.
Are you really scared? I thought you spoke to thousands of young people at once.
Yes, but the lights are off and I can't see him.
What isn't that better?
Yeah, it's better, but when you can see the whites of their eyes.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's pretty scary.
My name is Carrington, and I am also overseas in Jamaica. I'm Andy Frost, also known as the Golden Bishop.
The idea behind this series is to create a resource that maybe you could use to have a discussion with your friends. That you can invite some friends over to your house, have some pizza, put it on the TV and watch the show, and maybe create a conversation about the story of faith and ask questions together and explore.
It's really our goal or vision is to help plant surfer-friendly churches throughout the world.
Yo.
Oh! On my foot! Stood on my
Why
foot!
behind me then?
I don't know.
What you guys do, we paddle on a surfboard around the Calicos. I mean, like, these are like cliffs that hit the ocean, so it's so deep. It's like it's like when some of the sharkies place around, but we paddle.
There's like little
The problem is he always needs one more wave, one more set, one more turn, one more sense of achievement. So he catches that last wave over and over and over and over and over.
Everybody say, surfers, what's it called? What's the thing called? Surfer's Guide to Faith. So Dennis, what's happening?
We just drop off the family here somewhere on the side of the road, and they're gonna hit it biking from here all the way to Trestles.
Famous Trestles.
Oh man,
And-
it's like, yeah.
And the two most passionate surfers, well, Indy also. Well, they're all passionate, but we're not there.
Yeah, we're not there. I'm not riding, I'm driving that thing.
And I'm driving that thing and getting it parked. And then we're saying goodbye to this car today, and then everything centers around the bikes and this. But one of the big issues is have you seen? Come look. This is one of the issues. On every e-bike journey, you need to, need to have a suit. So here's my suit, and then inside here, it's just like, how are we going to get all of that on bikes and into this trailer with all of their stuff as well? So tomorrow we lose the second car, and it's all
Trailer from here.
trailer from here. Easy.
We got this.
We got this. It's like we're making out like it's some big drama. It's a great big flipping trailer. Of course we can fit it all in.
Alright, where are we headed to, bro?
Trestles.
Trestles, how far is that?
Like an hour and a half.
Where are we right now?
We are on marine property.
Marine property in Carlsbad, Oceanside somewhere? In the middle of, next to the highway or something? I don't know.
Somewhere in California. We don't know.
But yeah, that's today's adventure, going to San Clemente Lowers. Look at this little grom. cycling. Look at them go.
Like trying to race the train.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
It's red. I don't know if that means that there's a train coming.
When my days end, I might just fall in love. I know the DJ and I love this song. Me and you and the night feel so young. Every single moment has led up to this one. Whoa, did the stars align? Whoa, maybe it's a sign. We should do tonight again, even in another lifetime. Baby.
Now, of course, we've got a screening tonight. We're going to be showing our film Surfer's Guide to Faith at the Shoreline Church, which is one of the founding members of the Surf Church Collective, an amazing church led by George and Cheryl Hulse, and they are just killing it, doing a great job, just really impacting the community here, and is a phenomenal place for the surf and beach community to gather together to explore faith. So really excited to go and check that place out, and it has a very special place in my heart and my family's heart for reasons I will explain later. So while the crew are riding hard on the trail, Dennis, what are we doing?
I need to get aboard to surf trestles.
So we are board shopping. Let's go do it.
Rewind and put your hands up. Oh, keep those hands up for tonight again, even in.
It was a Sunday morning, and I was in a car just like this with my son, who is the older version of this one. Split the camera, show yourself. So his older brother, Marnie, who was 11 years of age, and we'd been surfing lowers, and we'd spent a week trying to find churches that were kind of like the church that we were planting in Hossegor, France. And we'd started this church, of course, called Surf Church. And we spent a week traveling around California trying to find other churches that we could relate to that may have been doing this type of ministry for some time. But we'd struggled to find anything and anyone. We were surfing lowers the Sunday morning, expecting to drive up after our surf to Huntington just to visit a random church we'd heard about. But I said to my son, do you know what? The surf's really good. Let's stay in San Clemente and just go to a church here. So it gives us an extra 20 minutes in the waves. So we did that. And then we hit a few lips. I made a few cutbacks, and then we got out the water, went to the computer, hit Church San Clemente, and just clicked on the first one for directions, and off we went. As we drove towards this church called the Shoreline, little did we know how it was going to change our life. So as we turned onto Pico, which is the road that leads us to the Shoreline, we get a phone call from my wife. She's calling in from France, and Marnie, my eldest son, had been going through a really difficult time at school for that first 2 years. A lot of bullying, because basically he was an English kid who didn't at the start speak any French, and he was ignored and made fun of, and he really had a hard time. He just kind of got past it, and he managed to get a few friends at school, but he'd been given the opportunity to go to a brand new school, the local Catholic school, and he'd been offered a place. And my wife was ringing to say, what does Marnie want to do? So we chatted in the car, and Marnie said to me, I just don't know, Dad. I don't really know how to hear God's voice. And I said, well, with a decision like this, we really do need to know what it is that God wants us to do. And he said, yeah, because I've only just settled into school. So I said, well, let's pray and let's allow God to give us a sign and show us what he wants for your future. So we prayed together, and then we just said, right, let's get ourselves to church. And so we continued down this road. So as we start to drive in to the church, so I turn into this driveway right now. the memories come flooding back of so many cars lining up for Sunday morning church with surfboards on the roof and people parking up and walking out in shorts and flip-flops. And I just thought, wow, this is just like home. And I said to Marnie, this feels very similar to Surf Church Hossegor. And so we parked up and we walked inside. So Marnie and I have found our seats this very row, and the worship's been amazing, and Marnie and I kind of like nudging one another going, this is great, it's just a beautiful place to be. And then the preacher starts to preach. He starts to talk about his passion for Jesus and his passion for the ocean. And I'm like, wow, he's using all the terminology of kind of surfing and beach culture and beach lifestyle to communicate the story of Jesus to people. It was just like we would do back in France. And then he says that this morning I want to specifically help those who don't know how to hear God's voice. And I nudge Marnie, and then he says, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you discern what God is saying to you about your future by using an illustration of how my son didn't know which school to go to and how we prayed and worked out which school God was going to send him in the future. And Marnie just turned to me and started to just like burst into tears, because suddenly he realized that God was speaking to him and that God was going to equip him in how to hear his voice. And so the pastor preached an amazing sermon that just really spoke to my little boy, and it was just an amazing moment. At the end of that service, Marnie said to me, Rich, you got to go to the front, you got to go talk to the pastor, because this is incredible. And I said, mate, actually I think this moment today was just for us to come and be blessed and be encouraged by God, but I don't want to go and join the big queue. I think it was just something for us to feel encouraged by. So actually what we'll do is we'll leave. So I grabbed him, I got up, and I started to walk out of the church building. So as we walked to the exit of the building, I was accosted by a lady who said, I've not seen you before. And that's unusual in a church of, you know, however many thousands sit in this room. She'd recognized that this ginger dude and his kid had not been to the service ever before. She said, well, tell me your name. I said, I'm Richard. Where are you from? I'm from a little place called Hossegor in France. And she said, what? You're from Hossegor? What is it you're doing in Hossegor? I said, well, we're just planning a church there actually called Surf Church Hossegor. And she just said, wow, you've got to come and meet my husband. She grabbed my hand, she grabbed my son's hand, and she marched us to the front of the building, right past the queue of people who were waiting to speak to the pastor. And she walked us to the very front, and then she turned to this guy called George and said, George, this guy and his son are coming for lunch today. He turned to her and said, well, why? And she says, because they come from Hossegor. His eyes lit up and he said, really? What do you do in Hossegor? I'm planting a church for surfers called Surf Church. He burst into tears. I was like, what is going on? And then he proceeded to explain to me that just 4 weeks before this moment, they had been asking God whether they should move to Hossegor, France to plant a church for the surfers of those beaches. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. So we went and had lunch together and delved into this conversation. It was incredible. So we sit around the table discussing all that we have been through, and suddenly George and Cheryl, myself and Marnie feel this incredible kinship as George starts to explain that while he traveled on the world tour as a professional surfer, he went from surf spot to surf spot to surf spot looking for churches, and there were no churches for the surf and beach community. And then in that moment, in the 90s, God kind of gave him the vision of planting churches. And all of a sudden he's catching up and saying, wow, there are people doing that. And that's why, it's the very reason that George and Cheryl planted and started the Shoreline. It was just an amazing afternoon of this collision of faith, of connected story, of shared passion. And all of this had happened because we typed into Google church, San Clemente. Man, God knows how to get his people together at the right time and at the right moment. And so George, Cheryl, myself and my wife and a few other great churches from around the world started to come together and have a discussion about what could take place, what this could look like, and how we can support one another in the journey of church planting. And 10 years later, with some amazing churches that we're working alongside, we have this incredible thing called the Surf Church Collective. 70 plus churches, 30 odd new churches that we've planted. It is just incredible to see what God is doing. And wow, I'm so blessed that God has called us to step into this vision and to share it with other people like George and Cheryl and many other people around the world. Oh, video. Oh, it's video. We look great.